Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session with the Market Trader. My name's Ray, the Market Trader, and as usual, let's go ahead and start with our risk disclosure. Okay, so just wanted to remind everywhere. So I'll do this a couple of times here. Sometimes it doesn't come across. All right, so just to remind everyone that all the content that's being published and distributed by the market trader, okay, is to be treated as general information only, okay? None of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as investment advice and offered to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. Use of this information contained herein is to be used at your own risk, and its companies and partners, representatives, agents, employees, contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. Future trading does carry a fair amount of risk and is not for every investor. An investor could potentially lose all or more their investment capital. Only risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle should be used for trading. And again, only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Nothing contained again herein is intended to as a solicitation to buy, sell futures, options, or forex. And past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right. So now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure, we're going to turn our attention to the news. And if you have not heard by now, today is FOMC. Okay, so one of the bigger news events that could have quite the impact on the markets. Okay, so you can see here that we have or are currently reporting jobless claims. Okay. Initial U.S. jobless claims. We have housing starts. We have continuous jobless claims. These all came in, continued jobless claims came higher than expected. New housing came in lower than expected. Building permits came in lower than expected. Okay. For those who trade crude oil, crude oil opens today, reports today. And then we have the interest rate decision, okay, coming in at 2 p.m. Eastern time, okay, FOMC minutes, okay, coming in. Okay, and then we close out with some more median rate forecast decisions at 2 p.m. and then the press conference that FOMC Powell will host here at 2:30 p.m. Okay, so fair amount of news, news that could impact the markets. So we need to be aware of that, obviously, and trade around it as best we can. Okay, so now that we have an understanding of what we have coming up news-wise, let's go ahead and begin to turn our attention to the markets. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move our chart here to the gold market here in a moment. Okay, so we'll go ahead and turn our attention here. Go ahead and dismiss this and move into our charts. Okay, here we are. There's our charts. All right, so I have a very clean daily chart. Okay, I like starting with a kind of a clean chart here. So you can see here that we remain in this kind of bullish to neutral type of formation over the last few days, maybe in anticipation of the FOMC. Gold has been quite flat. Okay, flat. We haven't really made any strides outside of the rejection candle that we received here up on the highs here at say 34.75. The last couple of days have been quite neutral, okay, with these kind of doji candles that we are seeing here. So it'll be interesting to see, okay, what impact the FOMC meeting will have later this afternoon, okay, because right now the start is the last 2 days have been quite neutral. All right, so moving into the 4-hour chart. Okay, looking at the 4-hour chart, you can see that the gold has been in range. Okay, we've been in this kind of rangy kind of price action here of late, right? You can see I'm not going to give this any sort of color direction wise. Okay, so but nonetheless, you can see that we have been in some sort of range. Again, most likely waiting and anticipating and for the FOMC interest rate decision that's coming up here later today. Okay, so the market since the beginning of the week has been in this kind of range price action. Leading up to the range price action, we had a little bit of a sell-off in the market, but nothing that would necessarily break any sort of significant structure here that we've been experiencing here to the upside. Okay, we still are I would say bullish to neutral. Okay, in this market. Moving into the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart. Okay, I have my ADR here. We'll go ahead and turn that off here for a moment, and then we'll bring these on item by item. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and remove some of our drawings. And the first thing that I'm going to be focusing on is I'm going to be taking a look at our fixed range volume profile, and I'm going to get a sense for where price is in relation to yesterday's pricing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with that. Okay, here, right about, there's the start of the session. Okay, working my way over to the close of the session here. Okay, there's our initial balance, or not initial balance range, but our fixed range volume profile. You can see that price remains in the range. Okay, remains in range. So there's a fair amount of, I guess, price agreement at the moment in this market. Okay, so next thing I'm going to add to this chart is our initial balance. Okay, so initial balance, there it is. We're going to go ahead and open this for the US session here. Okay, so there's our US session initial balance range. Again, very much inside some of these prior ranges that we've had. The initial balance range is currently inside yesterday's initial balance range, again indicating that we are in some sort of balance or area of fair price. Okay, up until recently, okay, the initial balances were moving lower, right? You can see here from the start of Friday, the initial balances have steadily kind of moved down as price has moved lower. Okay, so right now we are inside this range, or inside the initial balance range from yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and add our anchored VWAP here to this discussion. So to see what London has been able to do with this market, and you can see that London is okay. Price is above our London session. Okay, and let's add our regular VWAP here. Okay, oh, that's our visible range volume profile. There's our VWAP. Okay, so price is currently above both our anchor VWAP from London as well as our daily VWAP, inside an area of value, here on the visible range. Okay, so everything right now is pointing to sort of price consolidation at the moment. Okay, so we're going to have to wait and see, if we get more data, more news, or more of an idea of where market participants want to take this market. And again, as we head into FOMC, later this afternoon, this information may not come until after that meeting. Okay, so leading up to that meeting, I would say that we need to be particularly cautious today. Um, we can't necessarily expect to see any very directional move for any extended period of time, given that is such a high impact news event that's coming. Okay, so we need to see profit and take profit as it comes, and not necessarily hold on to trades. And if we are going to hold on to trades, we certainly need to consider to become flat at before the meeting takes place. All right, let's go ahead and add our ASR values here. You can see that we're in the middle of the range here. So everything right now is pointing to sort of balanced price action. Really nothing to indicate here that we're moving in any one direction, up or down. Okay, right now we seem to be quite satisfied where price is, and that makes for very difficult trading. Okay, so we have to remain patient. And wait for participants to lead us as to the direction that they wish to take the market, and then react. All right. So that's what I have for the gold market. We're going to go ahead now and move into the crude oil market. Okay. All right. So looking at the crude oil market, you can see that. Let's go ahead and remove some of our drawings here. Starting off with a daily chart. Okay, so you can see of late that we've tried to push price higher in this market, right? If we're just looking at these series of candles here, you can see that price has tried to move higher. Okay, right? You can see that we've started to create some higher highs and higher lows in this market. Okay, can you guys not hear me? All right, let's continue. Let's continue. I'm not getting any indication here on my mic. Okay. I should have some sort of confirmation here. Hey, Frizu. All right. Well, let's continue here. So I was about to talk through the crude oil chart, and so crude oil chart. You can see on the daily chart we're starting to move a bit higher. Okay. We're starting to make some strides or provide some evidence that the market wants to head higher here. Moving down to the 4-hour chart. Okay, 4-hour chart. We are starting to see some evidence that the market wants to continue higher. We're seeing some higher highs and higher lows in this market. Okay. And we're currently developing a kind of a bullish engulfing candle here to kind of start the day here. Okay, so okay, so 4 hour chart again remains bullish. Okay, let's take a look at the 30-minute chart. Looking at the 30-minute chart. Okay, so again, we're going to do our fixed range volume profile analysis here. We're going to take a look and see where price is in relation to yesterday's session. Okay, we'll drag this across to the close here. Okay, so you can see that price is currently above value. Okay, indicating that there's a fair amount of interest to the bullish side. Okay, in this market. All right, we're above our VWAP, we're above value from yesterday, and we're at the higher end and kind of building up volume here, potentially price acceptance up here at the highs of the range. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're not actually, we just opened the initial balance, so we'll go ahead and open up that here. We can open up the initial balance range. Let's go ahead and open up the initial balance range. All right, so there's our initial balance range. Again, we just opened the crude oil session, just opened. Okay, so you can see that the price opened above the range from yesterday. Okay, indicating that there's a fair amount of interest on the bull side. Now, if we look at what took place over London, okay, London also offered us some interest here to the upside as well. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and add my anchored VWAP here to the low end of this chart here, maybe for the start of London, okay? And you can see that price is above both our daily VWAP as well as our London session, okay? Again, indicating that there is a fair amount of interest in this market to the upside. Now, we are coming up on some areas here that could potentially be resistant, and we're starting to get maybe a little bit of reaction away. Either maybe some folks may be taking some profits here. Maybe as we open up the session, there could be folks that are taking profits up to these levels here, or otherwise adding to their position. Okay, but in any case, we are coming up at a level here around 74 that is expected to be somewhat resistant to price here. Okay, and so yeah, so the expectation is that maybe we get maybe a little bit of a pullback, possibly back down to value area high here. Okay, that would be a logical place for price to come back to. So let's see if settlement price here. That might be another area that we could see price come to. Okay, let's color that in sort of a gold color here. And we'll use circles. Okay, so we are just hovering around our settlement price levels. Okay, so these levels that I've identified here, this I would assume they would be continue to be supportive. Our settlement price. Okay, so we'll go ahead and mark that in as supportive. Okay, right around the, let's see, right around the 73.28 level. So, and then we have 73, okay, as kind of our lower levels of support in this market. So headed into the session, I would say that we remain bullish, in this market. We are obviously, as I mentioned already, coming into an area that where we could find some sellers here around 74. Okay, So that's something to keep in mind. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and open up the equities. Okay, and we'll take a look at the equity markets here. Okay, so leading up to the FOMC, we did get a little bit of a sell-off. Okay, after the close. And we found some buyers here around the 21,870 level. Okay, and we've been above the VWAP here ever since. But let's take a look at the daily chart. Okay, let's take a peek as to what the market is trying to accomplish here. All right, so we've been hovering around this 22,000 level, okay, for some time now, and as you can see here, that has been an important level in this market for some time. Okay, right, so this level, we're kind of at the top end of the range, and kind of I would say kind of slowing down momentum wise here to that direction. Okay, so I've already marked this 22,000 level. We'll go ahead and mark that in as in red. Okay, we're just above that level. We've reacted away from it, and now we're below that 22,000 level again. Okay, so daily chart appears to be remain bullish. Okay, we are again up against some levels that could trigger okay, some sellers to kind of step into the market, and the trigger could very well be the FOMC meeting later today. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the 4-hour chart. Okay, 4-hour chart. We're going to go ahead and remove some of our drawings here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close our initial balance range. We're going to go ahead and zoom in on these candles here. Okay, so we've you can see that we're seeing a lot more in the way of overlapping candles. Although the market is moving higher, it is moving higher at I would say a labored pace. Okay, it's taking quite a bit of effort here to continue this move. Okay, it seems to be I would say maybe tiring a little bit. Okay, so 4-hour chart indicates that we're making higher highs and higher lows. Again, market continues to be bullish, but it is showing some signs of losing a bit of strength. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the 30-minute chart. We'll do a little bit of volume analysis at that level. Okay, so you can see that price is currently above our VWAP. We're going to go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile here, and let's see, right about here. Okay, there's start of the session to the close of the session. Okay, so here we are on the sort of the low end of value here. Okay, low end of value. We're going to go ahead and extend that line here. Right, low end of value. Price is slightly just a hair above the low end of value. Okay, indicating that that we are in some sort of balanced price action at the moment. Okay, we created in yesterday's session. We had kind of a P-shaped profile here. So it'll be interesting to see how the market opens today. I'm going to go ahead and open up our not fixed range volume profile, but my anchored VWAP, and I'm going to locate the start of the London session here, which is right about there. Okay, and you can see that in London, okay, London is really not a believer, I guess, of the market. Right, price is below our anchored VWAP, and it's struggling to get above it. Our daily VWAP price is below it, so we have a little bit of a mixed bag when it comes to the Nasdaq at this point. We're at the low end of value. We are inside some bearish structure. Okay, inside some bearish structure in this market, right? So we have a swing to the downside. This does look like a little bit more of a retracement back to a level, sold off here a bit, but really haven't really, we've made some new lows, but we haven't been able to get below, in this case, below settlement here at 21,955.50. Okay, and most recently we've started to maybe develop some price structure that would indicate maybe we are potentially going to come back and revisit some of these highs of the session. Okay, so yeah, so I would say headed into the market here. We have to until the FOMC, I would say, basically look at more kind of range kind of price action. It'll be interesting to see what kind of break, if we do get a break of the initial balance range. I would expect that the initial balance range would remain intact until this FOMC meeting takes place. Okay, so right now the fact that we are above value, okay, it's kind of mixed. Okay, we're above value on the daily side, below value on the London side, with a developing bullish candle. I do see that there is some acceptance, I guess, or there's a little bit of a demand zone being developed here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mark that in green. Okay, so we have a little bit of a demand area being established here. Okay, so assuming that we can hold above this, what is that, 21,985 level. Okay, we can assuming that we can remain and hold above that, then maybe there is that maybe another leg to the upside. Okay, we need to be careful with the 22,000 level. 22,000 level is a level that has been respected in the past. We broke through that level to the downside. Now we came back to it again and reacted away from it. The question is, are we going to react away from it once again once we're back to it? Okay. Now, one thing I will say is that maybe the intensity in which we react away from it possibly could be diminishing. Okay, so we had one really strong move away from the 22,000 level. We'll have to see how this 22,000 level plays out over the course of the session today. Okay, so let's go ahead and mark that level as a level of resistance. So that's kind of what I have for you right now. Assuming that we can accept this area, it's not unreasonable to expect that maybe we will revisit at least up to 22,000, maybe as high a value here at 22,130. Okay, so that's certainly a possibility. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and move on to the ES market here. Okay, ES. We'll start to look at the daily chart. Okay, daily chart. Okay, again, we can see that price remains in some sort of bullish trend. Okay, maybe slowing of late, coming up to the 6,100 level. We'll go ahead and mark as a level of importance here, as resistance here. Okay, so yeah, so daily chart does appear to be somewhat bullish, coming up on an area of maybe some resistance. Looking at the 4-hour chart, we continue to make higher highs and higher lows in this market. We've been on more of a low swing of this move. Okay, but you can see here that we remain in this channel. Okay, to the upside. Okay, now whether you want to use this area or this area, I'm probably going to put it down this way, and that would incorporate most of these candles here. Okay, so you can see that we remain in this kind of bullish channel to the upside. We've come down to some area of support here at 6,043. That's at least for now stalled price. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead now and move on to the 30-minute chart. Okay, and we'll take a look at the 30-minute chart and see what the 30-minute chart has to say. Thank you, Frizu. Thank you, Frizu. Yeah, you're welcome. All right, let's take a look at the fixed range volume profile here. Let's take a look at where price is in relation to yesterday's session. So we'll go ahead and locate this yesterday's session here. There it is. We're going to drag that across to the close of yesterday's session, and you can see much like the Nasdaq, price remains inside value, inside an area of balance. Okay, indicating that there's a fair amount of well, interest is really, there's no real direction as to where they want to take the market at the moment. Okay, price remains inside range of the prior day. Okay, indicating that there is I guess price agreement to some degree. You can think of it that way. All right, so we got our fixed range volume profile. We're going to go ahead and add our anchored VWAP to this. So we're going to go ahead and locate the start of London, which is back here. Okay. So you can see that we some sellers during London. We had some sellers kind of step into this market, and they've managed to maintain below VWAP, okay, over the course of this session. Okay. Now, daily VWAP, much like the Nasdaq, is kind of reporting kind of mixed results here, right? We were in this kind of bearish price action at the close of the session yesterday. We rallied, okay. We rallied after the sell-off. We rallied and we've remained above, okay, until London was able to take the market lower. Okay, they took the market lower. We rallied again, and now we're kind of in between the anchor VWAP that was formed by London, as well as the anchor VWAP from the daily. Okay, so as we head into the session, you know, I would say that we probably should look at more kind of range kind of trades, especially given that we have FOMC coming up here later this afternoon. It'll be interesting to see if participants will drive price in any direction, or whether they're content in keeping price in some sort of tight consolidation range. Okay, so so similar kind of view or sentiment that I have here with the ES. We'll go ahead now and move into the last market here, and that's going to be the Dow. Okay, so looking at the Dow, I'm going to go ahead and start off with the daily chart here. Again, looking, you can see that similar kind of price action that we've been seeing of late and all across all the equities. Okay, we're going to go ahead and remove our drawings here. You can see that 43,000, okay, 43,000 remains an area of resistance, okay, to price. 43,000, we're just going to go ahead and mark that. Okay, you can see we've come up once, reacted pretty strongly, came up a second time, did not react as strong. Okay, the magnitude of our reaction was muted, and again we came back to this level, and for now our reaction has been a bit muted. Okay, so what does that tell us? Well, it tells us maybe that we are potentially accepting higher prices here. Okay, right, we're getting a fair amount of volume here, so I don't know, it's either price acceptance or sellers kind of building up on their portfolios for maybe a potential swing lower. Okay, we'll have to see what we get from the FOMC today. Okay, moving down to the 4-hour chart. Okay, 4-hour chart, you can see that price has been in some sort of range here. On the low end, we have this demand zone here. I'm going to go ahead and draw. We have a demand zone here around 42,150. We have our resistance zone here at 43,000. Okay, so we've been since the start of the week in this kind of range from 42,130 all the way up to 43,000, and we've kind of remained in that range. Okay, so right now, let's go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile. Let's get a sense for where price is in relation to yesterday's session. I think we'll probably know the answer to this question, but we'll run through this here So we'll open up the 30-minute chart here to start, okay? And we'll go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile here. So let's start with the session, opening of the session to the close here. There it is. So you can see, much like all the other equity markets, price is inside value, okay? Inside value, right, from yesterday. Or inside value, price is inside value from yesterday, okay? Indicating that there is some sort of price, at least for now, price agreement, okay? Both buyers and sellers are quite satisfied in where price is at the moment, okay? Moving into the, I'm going to go ahead and add the anchored VWAP to this discussion here. So we're going to go ahead and locate the Open of London. Okay, similar kind of view that we saw on the other equities. Prices below London and above our daily, kind of in inside value, right? So you're welcome, George. So again, similar to the other markets, we're going to have to wait for maybe some additional data from the markets to tell us which direction they want to take this market. Because right now we see a lot of overlapping, candles here, and not a whole lot of direction. Okay, so for myself, I'd like to see us, if I'm going to think bullish. Well, I'd like to see us get above 42,654. If I'm bearish, I'd like to see price get below 42,517. Okay, we're going to go ahead and mark that in as green. All right. So until we can get out of this range, I would say that the best path forward is to sit on the sidelines. Okay, because you run the risk of not moving in any direction, and when you move in no direction, you tend to get chopped up a bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and just kind of do one final summary review of all the markets. We'll go back to the gold. Okay, the gold looks like it's picking up a little bit of interest here to the upside here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open up our initial balance. So this is the second candle here, okay? So we're starting to maybe retest the highs of a value area high here on the left-hand side. So we're starting to see maybe that now both our VWAPs have turned positive, okay? So we're getting some price action to indicate that maybe they wish to take the price higher. So I would say that headed into the session, the market has kind of turned a little bit more bullish to me. I would say that I have a kind of a demand zone here down below here around 3,400. Okay, and now we are coming up against this 3417, 3416, 3420. These are areas where I would expect to see some sellers. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of draw a little trend line here from the start of this. At least try to, if I can. Okay, there it is. You can see that we have this trend line, okay, that's sloping lower, and every time we've come up to this level, we've sold off. So is this going to be the swing that's going to cause price to get above and hold? Okay, that's what we're going to be looking for in the gold market. Looking at the crude oil market, again, just a reminder, we do have inventories today. The crude oil market is also looking a bit bullish, but not so bullish as it nears the 6,400 level. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of I say resistance, right, with these candles, right? We're seeing some resistance up against this 74 level. Okay, you can see that we have the ASR high, we have our supply area that we've already kind of identified. So there is a fair amount of bearish activity or potential sellers up at these levels. Okay, so while the market is bullish, we have to remain. We probably need to see if we can locate better price location to potentially participate in this move. Right, up at these levels, is probably we're probably paying a little bit of a retail price in participating in this market. All right. So we're going to go ahead and just close off our evaluation of the equities with a review of the Dow, not the Dow, but the NASDAQ. Okay. So we're about 6 minutes away from the open of the market. We have a bullish engulfing candle developing up against value. Okay. So assuming that we can hold the low end of value, that could lead to maybe a rotation move, right? A rotation move back to the high end of value. Okay, that's certainly within the realm of possibility. Now, one area that we need to contend with is this 22,000 level. We've crashed through it, okay, and now we rallied up to it and faltered, okay. So this level, amongst other levels that we have in the other equities, is probably going to be a level that we need to kind of continue to keep an eye on. Assuming that we can stay above the low end of value, okay, if we can stay above the low end of value, I would say that we have a reasonable chance for the markets to rally here, okay. You can see that we're starting to make some higher highs and higher lows, okay. We had a little bit of a sell-off to close off yesterday's session, right? And then that sell-off kind of worked its way into the London session, right? So this is a sell-off from yesterday, right? Market rallied, okay, during Asia and overnight trading, and then London came in and sold the market off. Now the question is, in the U.S. session, are we going to pick up? Are we going to pick up the rally here? Okay, so we'll have to see if we start to break above. First order business is to break above this anchored VWAP. If we can't break above this anchored VWAP and if we hold within this swing, then I would say that then we are looking potentially to move lower. Okay, if we cannot break above 22,000, then I would say that the move that we're looking at may be a move lower. Okay, all right. I think that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. I'll pause here to see if anyone has any questions. If not, then we'll close this session just like we close all our sessions with a wish for you to trade well, to trade safe, to trade like a pro, and to trade like a market trader. Okay, guys. So have a good session today. I would say that caution is the word of the day. Okay, proceed with some caution. If the opportunities present themselves and they are aligned with your A+ setups, certainly don't hesitate to take them. But understand that we are still in kind of an environment where participants are waiting for news. And that they may be waiting for that news before they place any sort of significant stake on the markets. Okay, so with that, again, trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. Have an excellent trading day today. We'll talk soon.